I'm Stan Garnett, District Attorney in the 20th Judicial District. You've all seen the press release that my office has decided, after reviewing the reports from the Boulder Sheriff's Office and a review of the scene and consulting with a number of lawyers in my office, that we will not be filing any criminal charges at this time in connection with the Fourmile Fire, which started on Labor Day in Boulder County. A number of you had requested the chance to talk to me either on camera or otherwise, so we thought we could do it all at once, and that's why I'm here. So,
when did you make this decision, Stan?
Finalized the decision right after lunch today.
Can you kind of boil it down to your decision point? Was it a lack of evidence? Was
Sure.
it trying to get to intent on the fire?
Well, that's a good question, John. And you know, when the legal system looks at any particular fact pattern, you look at a number of different levels of behavior. Whether criminal charges are filed or not, as we indicate in the press release, depends on whether the prosecutor can conclude that there's evidence that you can prove all the elements of a crime beyond a reasonable doubt to a jury of 12. When we looked at this report, the frankly extensive reports that had been prepared by the Sheriff's Office, we concluded that there were enough problems with proving all the elements of fourth-degree arson that we could not file criminal charges. Now, the report is very complete, it's very thorough. The Sheriff's Office, the arson investigators worked very, very hard on this. But there's a number of issues where we concluded we could not prove an element beyond a reasonable doubt, and therefore criminal charges were not appropriate. Now, there are some more investigations going on. As I indicate, the Forest Service is doing an investigation. We anticipate we will receive those reports sometime in the future. I wanted to go ahead and make this announcement today so that the people that have been wondering whether charges were going to be filed or not could move forward.
So you've obviously talked to the gentleman who's accused of starting this fire. What was his reaction?
I have not personally talked with him. I have conveyed the decision shortly before this to a representative of his.
Stan, this might not be information you're privy to, but any word on pending civil suits?
You know, I haven't heard anything about pending civil suits. Many of you know that I practiced complicated civil law for 22 years. I would be surprised if civil litigation didn't arise out of this. And the problem will be it'll be fairly complicated. There will be a lot of insurance companies involved, and that's the kind of thing that could go on for quite some time.
Stan, without getting too much into the statutes, but could you just sort of bullet point for us, what are the elements of fourth-degree arson, and which of those elements did you feel like you couldn't prove?
Well, we would have to, John, first we would have to be able to establish beyond a reasonable doubt exactly what happened with the origin of the fire. The investigators are able to establish pretty clearly where the fire started, but that doesn't necessarily mean we could prove beyond a reasonable doubt how it started. I don't know if you've received yet the information from the Sheriff's Office. They go through somewhat what they're looking at there. Then the issue is the mental state involved in fourth-degree arson is knowingly or recklessly. Well, the evidence that was developed quite extensively by the Sheriff's Office shows that the fire in this fire pit, if that was the point of origin of the fire, had occurred several days before September 6th. And the owner of the fire pit, Mr. Farrer, who's mentioned in the sheriff's report, had doused the fire a couple of times and thought the fire pit was completely out. We felt, based on the evidence that was presented to us, that we would not be able to establish the mental state among some other issues.
What would that mental state have to be? Someone with a premeditated state of mind in order to going in there thinking that in fact they were going to do this?
Well, premeditated would certainly do it, and that would be much worse than fourth-degree arson. Fourth-degree arson has a mental state of knowingly or recklessly, which requires some awareness of the risk and behavior disregarding the risk.
Did the fact that, forgive me if you covered this already, did the fact that he was a volunteer firefighter have anything to do with this?
Really didn't enter into the decision. Obviously, one wants to evaluate the person's understanding and background. Mr. Farrer is a well-regarded member of that community. He served on the fire department there for a number of years, but that fact did not have anything to do with our decision.
The fact that he lost his home as well?
Yeah, it was very tragic for him. But again, we look at the facts. You know, district attorney, we got to follow the evidence where it goes, and they really didn't enter into the decision.
So we've heard rumors about some possible other charges against the gentleman. Is that not true, Sam?
There won't be other charges.
No more charges.
Not by my office.
Okay.
You know how many days it started before September 6th?
Yes, that's in the sheriff's report. I don't know if you guys have gotten that yet. I think it was September 2nd.
Okay, so are all the reports and stuff available?
Not all of them yet, Vanessa. A number of them. I understand the sheriff's office, who's making the decision about what will be released and what won't, will be releasing some reports and also the dispatch tapes. The dispatch tapes, if you haven't listened to them yet, are somewhat helpful because they help, I think, help you understand the initial reports that this was somehow tied to a propane, somebody backing into a propane tank. In fact, we concluded that that was not, didn't have anything to do with the origin of the fire, and that was a misinterpretation of what was on the dispatch tapes.
Stan, is it hard, looking at the devastation of this fire, 160 some homes destroyed, is it hard to come back with a kind of oops explanation for it? I mean, do you sense in the community a need among your constituents to hold someone accountable for this?
Well, you know, I went up there with my first assistant on Tuesday. We spent quite some time touring both the place where the fire is believed to have started and the entire fire scene with a number of people from the sheriff's office, and I'm assuming a number of you have been there as well. The devastation is really shocking. This was a very hot fire. It spread very quickly, and of course, so many people's homes were destroyed. You know, I should mention, because it's important, everybody in Boulder County has been impressed by how much people across the state have come to our aid and helped our sheriff's office and our firefighters and these victims. The state of Colorado has been terrific, and it's really a good testament. But the bottom line is, when it comes time to decide whether you file charges or not, it's all based on the evidence. And you look at the evidence, you look at the law, you make a decision whether you can prove something beyond a reasonable doubt. And if you can't, then you need to announce that so everybody can move forward. In our country, the civil justice system does a pretty good job of apportioning fault on lower levels of liability, and I have no doubt that that will happen now.
Do you know what his plans are now?
I don't know.
So Stan, this case is closed for you all after that?
Well, I make it clear in the report. I mean, essentially, yes. However, there's still some other reports being done. There's some other testing being done, which we will receive in the future. Obviously, if there's something that surprises us or is different than what we've received here, we could change our decision, but I don't think that's likely. I've talked at great length with the people involved in the investigations, and I felt it was appropriate to make this announcement at this time so that Mr. Farrer can move forward and everybody else can move forward.
Did Mr. Farrer help fight the fire?
I've been told that he did. As a matter of fact, not only did he help fight the fire, I've been told that he was very cooperative with investigators throughout the investigation.
Did he stipulate to the fact that he started it?
No, because in fact, and I may not have made this clear earlier, John, it is clear that it started in that particular area. Whether it actually came from the embers or not, as I've indicated, the sheriff report indicates that's most likely. We probably would have what lawyers call probable cause that that's how it started. But I think we might have difficulty proving beyond a reasonable doubt that that's how it started and it wasn't a stray cigarette or something else that came in about that same area.
Can you confirm if Mr. Farrer was using the fire pit for recreational purposes, or was it for fire mitigation, prevention strategies?
The investigation concluded that he was using the fire pit to burn things he wanted to get rid of on his property.
Like mitigation, like fire mitigation?
No, well, I'm not certain. You mean whether it was related to like removing items? I'm not certain.
Brush and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, yeah.
I'm sorry?
It was, or you're not certain?
Well, I'm not sure that it was related to fire mitigation. He was just burning stuff he wanted to get rid of.
Was there a fire ban, or was there a red flag warning when he was doing that, and was that played a reckless at all?
That's a fair question, John. There was no fire ban in place, and that is one thing that I looked at.